Now, I'm really curious, is this, I guess, a signifier of a turning point when it comes to the relationship that Beijing has with Pyongyang, and also some of these other changes that are falling into place? You mentioned, obviously, in your notes, the situation in Seoul, that sort of leadership crisis or change there. What would Beijing be hoping to gain at this point?
Well, I think there's a couple of interesting dynamics at play here. I mean, Beijing has been kind of ratcheting up the pressure on North Korea over the past few years, although it hasn't been to the satisfaction of the U.S. and its allies. But I think there's another interesting element here with the seemingly North Korean-led assassination of Kim Jong-un's half-brother in Malaysia. And he and his family sort of had a quasi-protection from China over the past few years. So I think that's just another thing that kind of has angered the Chinese. But I think the Chinese actually see this as a bit of an opening. I would be cautious to kind of frame this as a breakthrough. It is significant. Obviously, this is a significant amount of income for the North Koreans, but we have to look at it, too, in what Beijing is, what their motivations are. Clearly, they're signaling to the Trump administration in Washington. They're looking for some sort of deal, and to show this as a kind of a sign of good faith that they're actually doing concrete work on North Korea. So, which is good in one sense, but then we have to look at what Beijing wants, what they want for that, whether that's concessions in the South China Sea, whether that's concessions on trade. So we have to look at it from that larger lens.
Well, Jonathan, absolutely. And we had a Chinese official come out and say, well, the U.S. policy on North Korea is, well, quote, not working here. But what they've done here is institute one of effectively U.S. policies. So what gives?
Yeah, well, I think that the Chinese see a window of opportunity here. It was interesting to note, which was noted originally, that the UN sanctions came in before the Trump administration. So China, it's not necessarily a new policy, but their public kind of announcement of it is something that they're throwing towards the Trump administration. But I think what they're hoping for is, and the U.S. policy that they're kind of opposed to, are things more on the military security side. So whether it's the THAAD deployment in South Korea, whether it's trilateral military exercises with Japan and South Korea, those are the things that I think they're going to try to look at, basically throwing more concessions from their side to kind of look to disarm that security side from the U.S.
Well, it is a situation where they keep on doing the same thing, hoping for a different result. And I'm talking about sanctions here and indeed U.S. policy. But it's also the same on the other side, but with a bit more success. And Andrei Lankov from Cookman University, who we interview quite often, suggests that, with all these ballistic missile tests, we've got, of course, this assassination taking place in Malaysia as well, that it all really adds up to North Korea wanting something. And that is normally aid in the shape of money quite often.
Yes. Well, and I mean, that's been the cyclical cycle of these provocations, negotiations followed by provocations, or the other way around. I mean, it's not that things haven't been tried with the North before. I mean, there was the leap year agreement with the Obama administration in North Korea, but then quite quickly after that, there was a ballistic missile test, and then that killed that agreement. So, I mean, there has been attempts at reaching out to North Korea when it seems in a situation similar to this, whether it's through humanitarian assistance, but it's always followed by then another provocation, which makes it politically unpalatable to continue that policy. So it's we seem to be stuck in that same kind of intractable cycle.